The first step in research process is problem identification. The first step in research is defining the research problem. It is rightly said that a problem is well defined is half solved. A poorly defined problem causes confusion and don't allow the researcher to develop a good research design. Essentially, it has two steps: understanding the problem and rephrasing the same into meaningful terms. Understanding the problem and rephrasing the same into meaningful term. The second step in research process is literature review. Once the problem is formulated, the next step is to read relevant material. Search relevant material, read them and understand them. The material is about academic journal, conference proceedings, government reports, books must be tapped depending on the nature of the problem. Third step, objective. Here the research objectives two types: primary objective and secondary. Primary objective, it is relevant to your title. Secondary objective, it is helpful to achieve the primary one. How to write objectives? The overview. You can start the word to identify, to establish, to describe, to determine, to estimate, to develop, to compare, to analyze. These are the words you can use for writing objective. Don't start to study. Better words I have given. Please use these words while writing research objective. And the fourth step is frame the hypothesis. Hypothesis means as a tentative assumption towards a research problem. It guides the researcher in designing the study. Broadly, it is classified into null hypothesis and alternate hypothesis. There are two types of error: type 1 and type 2 error. Type 1 error, H0 rejected when it is true. Type 2 error, H0 accepted when it is false. Let me explain these in my data analysis session. Fifth step in research process is research design. It is a very important step. It is the whole arrangement of entire research. It is like an engineer is having architect plan in his hand, a single chart. It shows where to keep his hall, where to keep kitchen, where to keep dining hall, everything in a single chart. No, based on that, the project, the house will be constructed. The same way a researcher should have a single plan. It's a logical, systematic plan. What type of research, how much sample, what type of sample design, how to collect the data, entire plan, like an architect plan, a researcher should have in his hand. It is a blueprint of your research. It is a logical and systematic plan, and it is an outline of your research. It is called research design. It is like a engineer architect plan. The same way researcher is having a plan is called research design. The next slide is about remaining research process steps. Sixth point is sampling. Sampling broadly classified into probability sampling and non-probability sampling. Probability sampling means we are giving equal chance to all the population. We are giving equal chance to the population. Non-probability sampling means deliberate selecting sample. The researcher purposefully selecting sample. It is called non-probability sampling. It has many types that we'll see in sampling session. And the next step is data collection. Data sources are two types: primary data as well as secondary data. Primary data, it is a fresh data. Whoever using questionnaire method, it comes under primary data. It can be collected through questionnaire, interview, observation and schedule. And secondary sources are already published data. We are following already published data. Example, company balance sheet. If you are following that, it is a secondary sources. And next step is project execution. It should be executed in a systematic manner. Therefore, periodical and occasional check is essential. However, the educational institutions are calling students for viva voce, just for checking whether you are going in a right track or not. It is called project execution. The ninth step in research process called data analysis. Analysis, it is based on three ways: editing, broadly editing, coding and tabulation. Editing means just for improving quality. While they are making picture, no, just for improving the quality of the movie, they are eliminating unnecessary information and improving the quality. The same way we have to do some elimination of unnecessary data and increasing the quality, how to address unaddressed question, how to handle wrongly addressed question. Everything will be in editing process. And codings are data are transferred into symbols and categories, and tabulation is nothing but we are converting all data into table form. So editing, coding, tabulation comes under analysis. And the next step is testing of hypothesis. As I said earlier, hypothesis is a tentative assumption towards a research problem. So testing hypothesis, two types, parametric and non-parametric. Parametric means distribution method. Whatever we studied, Z-test, T-test, F-test, ANOVA, ZTF, ANOVA, everything comes under parametric. Non-parametric, chi-squared, H-test. H-test is nothing but Kruskal-Wallis test. U-test, Mann-Whitney U-test, sign test. So everything comes under non-parametric. You can use, there are many methods are there. You can use any one of the parametric or non-parametric. Better I can suggest you use parametric. It is more powerful test. These are less. And the next step is generalization and interpretation. Generalization here we are making into a small theory. Interpretation, explain the finding on the basis of interpretation. Now I would like to tell a small story about interpretation. A biology research scholar is doing a project by using frog. So he says jump, jump, frog jumps. Immediately has taken a paper and pen, has written an interpretation that when I'm saying jump, frog jumps. And he takes knife, cutted one leg, has written. Now he is saying jump, jump, it jumps with the three legs. He has written interpretation. Again, second leg is cutted. Now the frog is having just two legs. Again, research scholar takes the knife and cutted one more leg. Now he is saying jump, jump, frog tried. Somehow it tries, has written an interpretation. With now he is having only one leg. Again the research scholar is taking knife, cutted one more leg and saying frog jump, jump. It couldn't jump. As a research scholar has written an interpretation that once cutted all the legs of the frog, it becomes deaf. Have you understand that story? Once cutted all the legs of the frog, it becomes deaf. This is an interpretation is written by the research scholar. Whether it is a logical one, tell me. So, whatever research we are writing, whatever interpretation we are writing, based on some evidence, it must be logical oriented. Not like the biology research scholar did in my story. So it should be a logical oriented. So interpretation based on the findings you can write, but logical oriented. And generalization, just you are building a theory based on all your findings. A researcher is duty to build a theory. The final step in research process is report writing. It is broadly classified into three categories, broadly classified. Part 1, Part 2 and Part 3. Part 1, we know that it must have a title page. We have to thank someone, acknowledgement, table of content, list of table, list of figure. These are the primary part. And Part 2, introduction, main body and conclusion. Part 3 is bibliography and appendix. The next one is discussion questions. Is it necessary to follow all the steps in research? How to set research objective? Just do a discussion. Any clarification, you please command me. Now we'll go with small recap of entire slides. Most important stage is defining research problem. A well-defined problem is half solved. It followed by literature review. I can suggest you don't use same study. There are many people studied about customer satisfaction, employee satisfaction, and working capital management, financial management. Do it something different. No one did. You find out where actually the problem arises. You take the problem and try to solve it, and follow some literature reviews and set objective properly. As I said earlier, set objective properly. There are many steps I said no. How to recall? A better way I'll suggest you. Say look at Plofer's Dipa DGR. Problem identification, literature review, O objective, F framing hypothesis, R research design, S sampling, D data collection, P project execution, A analysis, T testing hypothesis, G generalization and interpretation, or report writing. Just studying a single word, you can write the entire research process. On this note, I end the session. Thank you for watching.